Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's NFL football time, that's right. The Laces Out guys are here, and we've got special guests. So, there's that. We're going to discuss last week's games, we're going to preview the upcoming games, we're going to talk fantasy football, betting on football, all kinds of football. So yeah. If you aren't checking us out on YouTube, just do jump over there, see what we've got going on. There are videos, so that's the thing. And if you could subscribe, it'd be a big help to the channel. So yeah, here we go. This is CookieCast, Laces Out. And we're off. Allegedly we're off. Well, as some of us decided to put on jerseys this week, I am currently pouring sweat out my eyes. So a jersey was not for me. Takes nobody on YouTube to work out which podcast this is. And obviously the people that are listening saw the title of it. So it's no mystery that today we are talking NFL football. Yorkshire's number one NFL podcast, coming to you not live, almost live.
Live to tape. We'll say live to tape.
That's the one. I am here. My glamorous and gorgeous co-host, Mr. Paul Williams, is also here. Today's guest, he's not shy when it comes to turning up to the podcast. Friend of the podcast, friend of the San Francisco 49ers, Mr. Matthew, with the two T's, Herlihy. How are you, sir?
He's back by all the popular demand.
I'm very well.
I'm pleased.
I'm very well.
I'm pleased about that. I'm happy. I'm happy that you're well. Because in these dark times, you know. So, the one person that isn't here on this fine NFL related evening is the stats mistress, as I was just explaining to these gentlemen. She is found in sick today. So she sent Nate Davies in her place to replace her with his own stats, and I think we'll divvy them out. We'll share some stats. She did send me with an instruction, however. She wanted to check a league stat. She wants to know if this past week is the first week where a kicker has managed to score a third of a team's points. Do we know if that's a league stat, Mr. Williams?
Look into it.
If you could, that'd be great. We could add it to the. What was the episode where in the league where they were like, we're going to start using the league history page because it's neglected. I think she's after that job. So
I mean, obviously, massively skipping ahead, but obviously it was a stellar performance by my fantasy boys this week. Almost beaten by one player on his own. So
I would have to double check, but there's a possibility I had a player in my team that might, if we'd have been playing, that one player might have beaten your team on its own. But we are skipping ahead. So, anything stand out from last week? I've got one straight off the bat. In our house, we've started a little thing. Spice up the games a little bit. Get a little bit of spice, a little bit of We've been putting a 14-fold accumulator on. before the games kick off. Not crazy money, pennies on a 14-fold accumulator. And I was delighted to see that mine had failed after the first game of the week. I then had to put it back on. And then I had to put a 13-fold accumulator back on. Game 1. And it's a bust. Cool, thank you very much for coming. Any standouts from last week, gentlemen? Matthew, did you have a win?
I did, yeah. I thought the stats mistress was actually going to send a message of congratulations on to my good self. But
Well, personally, I am bringing belated congratulations to you from the last time you were on the podcast. Well done to you, sir, for absolutely trouncing me as we knew you were going to. I believe she did send congratulations. I'm just a terrible host and forgot to pass them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are a formidable opponent, as we know, no matter which
Yeah, I beat
season
her by about 40.
Oh yeah, about 40. Yeah. I couldn't tell you the exact number. It was exactly 40.
Was it exactly 40? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going for the treble this week.
Oh, you're just trying to take down the podcasting
The
consecutive.
podcast, yeah.
Are you taking down the commish?
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
Got to be my site.
Don't think taking down the commish is going to be that much challenge. It's the commish taking down himself at this point.
Hashtag taking down the commish. Just saying.
Hashtag. Have you looked at the league standings as well to this one?
I haven't dared to yet.
I was going to say we're dealing with the as of yet only undefeated team in the league. So
Is that Matthew?
it might be Matthew.
Really?
Got 3 wins. He's got himself a little tie.
So it's a long way to fall from up on high.
Well, we can only assume that his 3-1-0 season will turn into a 3-1-9 season.
Undefeated. It could be the undefeated era. Little wrestling reference for you.
Little crossover of the podcast there.
Well, if there's one podcast that likes to mix it up.
What is it? That or something? Is it that?
It's absolutely lovely. What is it?
That? I don't know.
I don't know what's happening right now. I'm sure it's wonderful, whatever it is.
I'll let Stuart Matt let you in on the secrets.
I'm not sure I want to know.
All fingers.
So, Mr. Williams, where are we for kicking this puppy off?
Well, usually we'd ask for the old season-long bets, but as
Not this time.
He's making his second appearance of the season with his, I can only assume, Collector's Cup from some sort of Las Vegas Golden Knights Cubs. Cubbies. Nice. Look at that. Is that a root beer cup?
No, it's got the lyrics to "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Ah, very nice.
It's the song that they sing in the 7th inning stretch.
Well, I'm familiar.
Oh,
When we went to New York, I went to go see a Yankees game. So
do they do the same?
I've dabbled in the past. But yeah,
Do
so
they do the same song?
I think they do it across the league. I think it's like a league-wide tradition.
Right.
So no season-long picks to go through. So we might as well dive straight into last week's picks from a predictions standpoint.
Go on.
In reverse order. So we had 2 guests on last week, the eagle-eyed and eagle-eared amongst you. It was, like I say, it was a bit of a crossover pod last week.
Certainly was.
The getting over boys were in town, metaphorically speaking. And they brought with them a couple of picks. And even though they picked some different teams, they decided that they'd both be content with 8 out of 15 picks correct. The sensible ones amongst you may have noticed there that there was 8 out of 15 picks. But there was 16 games scheduled for last week.
No.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The game in Tennessee didn't go ahead.
It did not.
Because the Titans just love getting the old Rona. So
they're not the only ones.
Well, this is true. So Steelers Titans was postponed, I believe, until week 7.
Is it, or is it 8? I mean,
there's one thing I think
it's a little different.
I don't know if it's no. Is it Steelers Titans is week 7? Because that was scheduled to be the Titans bye week, and then they've pushed Ravens to bye week 7, and then it's Steelers Ravens bye week in week 8. Might have to double check that, but I think that's how they did it. But either way, so in reverse order, 8 out of 15. It is the 2 guests from last week, Stuart Munchie and Matthew Moore, backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. You'd think he'd know a little bit about football, wouldn't you? Now that he's a backup quarterback. But, then, in 3rd place, with 9 out of 15 picks correct,
this guy.
it's Mr. Williams. In 2nd place, with 10 out of 15 picks correct. She's not even here to celebrate. It's Leanne the Stats Mistress, which means getting a win for the first time this season. Is the man going wild? He's going wild on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Look at him. He can't contain his excitement. With a whopping 12 out of 15 picks. Well done, Andrew.
12!
You take the biscuit and you take the win this week, my friend. So, overall standings for the season. That would be me, Paul Williams, commish, joint podcaster. I'm still leading with 2 wins, or 2 points, if you will, because there's a week that we had a split win, a tie, if you will. Andy has 1.5 points. Obviously his win this week combined with his half-point win last week. Leanne, still to get off the mark, sadly. She's still lingering at the bottom with 0. And the guest has amassed a staggering 1 point so far. So, listen, we're only at week 4.
All to play for.
Did anything happen in any of the games? Did anything happen in any of the games that people want to discuss? Or did anything ridiculous happen that people want to cover?
I'd like to cover something. It's more of a question, really. I don't believe... I've got a list of injuries to go through, and I don't believe this is one of them on the list. However, certainly didn't turn up on my team. Freaking hell happened to Calvin Ridley?
He was... no, that was Julio Jones.
This is the exact conversation that I had with the stats mistress.
Let's have a look.
She was like, oh yeah, he got taken off early. Oh wait, no. That was Julio Jones.
Well, I think Julio Jones was ruled out for the entire game, wasn't he, before it even kicked off.
I think they were all over Ridley.
Well, he got a bagel, I know that much.
So, according to the ESPN Fantasy app, Ridley corralled none of his 5 targets during Monday night's 30-16 loss to the Packers. So he was playing. He was just sadly covered well by the pack.
Bagel.
I think that Gage got more of a look in, I think. Was it Gage?
I think so.
Somebody Gage. Yeah.
Russell Gage?
Yeah.
played against him in my other league. I'll just double check. Russell Gage.
Speaking of Russell,
for 22 yards.
Speaking of Russell, I see that every week we're already discussing that Russell Wilson is pretty much nailed on to be MVP. You know, week 4, and they've already decided the MVP. They're like, it's going to be Russell Wilson.
Only 2 touchdowns this week, though.
Yeah.
What's he doing? That was a tough game.
Tough slug.
Tough sledding, isn't it? Tough sledding.
What, going up against the beard?
Yeah. So that was that game. Cardinals seem to have a bit of a sticky spell. Back-to-back losses against teams you would imagine you'd have had them down to beat quite comfortably, to be fair.
I would.
So was it Lions the week before and then Panthers this week?
Yeah. We all know my love for the Panthers.
He's gone now. You can like him again.
Big Teddy.
There's nothing there. There's nothing in that team. When McCaffrey's injured, as he is now, there is nothing in that team. It's just a void.
He's been injured. He's been injured the past 2 weeks, and they've got 2 wins. I think he must be holding him back. That must be it.
Is the Harry Kane of no?
Are we just on a 3-way crossover?
Yeah, boy. And it came from me. That's how bad it was. I'm just like, I think my brain's reset or something, and now I'm like. So, if there's nothing pressing, if you gentlemen have no more, Matthew, were you able to receive the package I've sent to you? He's gone. He's frozen. Oh, he's back.
Again?
Did you get what I sent you? I sent you some stats. Did you get?
Yeah, got them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't check beforehand that you would be able to receive and then read them out. I just killed that. I just killed that coffee. So it's stat o'clock. Like I say, she's not here. She's phoned in sick. It's tough. She was on the clock and only got these over at 1:20 this afternoon. So it's a tough day. Although the stats mistress does correlate the stats, she hand picks like a grabby machine. The juiciest stats. They are originally generated by Nate Davis of USA Today. I'm going to kick things off as we like to do. I was greedy because one of my stats has 5 points to it, so you know. But we'll only find out what those 5 points are if we get cracking. So here we go. Number 1 of, I believe, 11 stats. Every game so far this season has featured at least 2 touchdowns. The games are averaging an outstanding 51.7 total points. Even before Monday night's contest kicked off, the 3,151 points tallied league-wide are the most ever through 4 weeks in the Super Bowl era. That's insane. 2. I say 2. Tampa Bay managed to dig out of a 17-point hole in Sunday's defeat of the Chargers. Now, this was something that had come up as part of the commentary of that game. They were like, oh, you know, the Bucs are down, this, that, and the other. And they were just like, this is where Brady excels. And there we go. The first time in league annals that one team in each of the season's 4 weeks has overcome a 16-point deficit and won. So then we're going to go into the individual points here. The latest noteworthy fact added to the Tom Brady record book is that the Buccaneers quarterback, 43, became the first since at least 1950 to start against a quarterback 20 years his junior, after facing 22-year-old Chargers rookie Justin Herbert. Also, number 2, TB12 notched the win by throwing for at least 5 touchdowns for the 8th time, including playoffs, in his career. Number 3, became the oldest player ever to finish a game with 5 touchdown passes. 4, and also threw scoring strikes to 5 different players for the first time in his 21-year career. Lastly, Brady broke the record held by his 41-year-old self, becoming the oldest to throw for at least a trio of touchdowns in consecutive games. Third stat. Shout out to Herbert, who finished with 290 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air despite being without running back Austin Eckler for most of Sunday and wide receiver Mike Williams for all of it. Stat number 4. Seattle beat the Dolphins 31-23, giving the franchise its second 4-0 start. The other occurred in 2013, the only time the Seahawks wound up with a Super Bowl victory. Mr. Williams, is it your... Have you got a stat for us about the Cowboys?
Oh,
and how dreadful they are.
Do I have a stat for you about the Cowboys? You bloody better do.
The number 1 shithouse team...
The opinions of Andrew Cook are not necessarily maintained by the all members of the Cookie Cast podcast family.
I think we can all agree there.
But the Cowboys have surrendered 146 points, the most in franchise history through 4 games. The Browns also ran through them for 307 yards on the ground, more than any Dallas team has ever seeded in one contest.
They are the absolute worst.
That's got to go down as a bit of a pounding.
They are my number 1 shithouse team for this season. Them and the Panthers are fighting it out for the worst, in my opinion.
It's that point. We're at that point in the season where everyone's just sort of thinking, I'll tell you what, we don't need 8 divisions. Just take the NFC East, scroll it up, throw it away, and we'll just play with 28 teams. It's fine. No one needs any of them. They're not gonna. One of them will slink into the playoffs with a fucking negative record and ruin it for everybody else. So let's just get rid of them and just play on with everyone else. However, don't blame Dallas QB Dak Prescott for Sunday's defeat.
I do.
He became the first player in league history to surpass 450 passing yards in 3 consecutive games.
So if
that's somehow.
If he can pass for 450 yards, why can't they win any games?
Because they give up 307 yards on the ground.
Oh, that's right. That was the other stat about how terrible they are.
Speaking of Cleveland, the team that took care of the Cowboys, Cleveland has scored at least 30 points in 3 straight games for the first time in 52 years. That is insane.
It is.
And finally, congratulations to Bengals rookie QB Joe Burrow, who notched his first career win as Cincinnati racked up 505 yards of total offense in a 33-25 defeat of the Jags. Burrow's 116 completions are the most ever in a player's first 4 games, exceeding the previous mark by a whole 10. He is also the first rookie in league history to pass for at least 300 yards in 3 straight games.
I quite like him. I often lean towards. I think the Bengals can win this season in games that I didn't think they would win last season because of him. Because I think he's another one of those. He looks pretty legit. You know, as for the rest of the Bengals, you know, apart from Joe Mixon, who you know. Matthew, have you got some stats for us?
Yeah, I've got 3 stats for you.
Do it.
The Lions sprinted to a 14-0 lead over the Saints on Sunday and also scored the game's final 15 points. But in between, Detroit gave up 35 unanswered. The Lions are the first team in league history to drop 6 consecutive games after leading by at least 10 points in each.
Oh.
Bad.
Wow.
The second stat, and I don't know if you saw this, but it was quite impressive. Sam Darnold gave the Jets their first lead of the season Thursday night with a 46-yard touchdown run, the longest by a quarterback in franchise history.
He tore that field up. He was just like, he was like, fuck it, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'll do it my freaking self. And just tore through him.
Up the jumper, yeah. And the final stat is Washington didn't beat Baltimore in Sunday's game, but at least the WFT provided smirks to its fan base by picking off the only pass run by Ravens backup and ex-Washington quarterback Robert Griffin III, or I, as some might call him.
Robert Griffin.
Robert Griffin. I.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. This is it's kind of more in a fantasy world, you know. If you're tuning in, if you're watching us, if you're listening to us, and you are here for fantasy tips and tricks, this might be interesting to you. Notable injuries impacting the fantasy teams, week 4. Many others affecting defensive teams, but not included here. Chargers running back Austin Eckler, hamstring, was carted into the locker room against the Buccaneers in the first quarter. He never returned to the game. Sounds like a horror movie line, but hey. Bucks tight end O.J. Howard suffered an Achilles injury and was ruled out. Bucks coach Bruce Arians said after the game that his team fears the injury will end Howard's season. Running back LaShawn McCoy was ruled out with an ankle injury, and running back Kenjon Barner was ruled out with a concussion. Oopsie. Browns running back Chubb was ruled out against the Cowboys after suffering a knee injury. That's a big hit. Jaguars tight end Tyler Eifert suffered a concussion. All concussions this week. Texans tight end Jordan Akins was ruled out with concussion after taking a helmet-to-helmet hit from Minnesota Vikings safety Harrison Smith, who was ejected on the play. Finally, Bills quarterback Josh Allen came down hard on his left arm during Sunday's game and briefly exited to have it looked at. Allen returned and after the game said it shouldn't inhibit anything. Those are that's your injury report for this week for your fantasy players. Obviously, we've got the big old WhatsApp group going for our fantasy league, and it flagged up yesterday about coach being fired out the door.
Kick out.
Texans.
Bob.
Yeah. released a statement saying they've loved everything that he and his family has done for them, but they've decided to move in a different direction, which is the common line for get the fuck out. So there we go. That's last week, firmly in the books, history and otherwise. Brings us on to this week. Moving forward, we've got games, people, as long as more teams don't get taken out by any viruses or any other such things. It's a situation where myself, Stats Mistress, and I presume Mr. Williams have already collated their picks. Oh, the book is looking up to date. So let's see if we can rattle through Matthew's picks. Basically, Matthew, at this point in time, if you want to tell Mr. Williams, he will write your pick in the book, and then he will look at how your pick lines up with ours. You will be playing this week as the guest. If you win, the guest will get a point for the season. All points are final. And as far as the time's concerned, if we can do it in 6 minutes, that'd be great. So, Mr. Williams, the first game of the week, go.
Right, let's rapid fire this shit. Right, Matthew. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Chicago Bears. Is he drafting or something?
I'm gonna go auto pick.
Go to our pick after if you leave the first three.
God, I'll go Tampa Bay. I don't think the Bears didn't look very good this weekend.
You've agreed with the entirety of the podcast there. Next, LA Rams at the Washington football team.
Rams.
Again, clean sweep. The Buffalo Bills at the Tennessee Titans.
Oh God, are the Bills undefeated? They are, aren't they?
So the Titans, technically.
Yeah. They're coming off a bye, aren't they?
They'll be on.
Put me down for Titans.
Now, that's our first difference of opinion. We've all gone Bills. Eagles at the Steelers.
Steelers.
Steel curtain, baby. Next, we have the Cardinals at the New York We Don't Want to Wins.
Which New York team's that?
Does it matter?
Cardinals.
Should I just adopt a principle for the rest of the season? If I say a team and then New York, I just immediately go for the other team.
Yeah. Might as
Next
well.
we have the Raiders at the Chiefs.
The Raiders at the Chiefs.
We've all gone Chiefs. I reckon that could be close. Jags at Texans.
Yeah. Ooh. So Texans have got a standing coach, haven't they? Jags. Where's it at? Is it at Texans?
At Houston.
Yeah. Put me down for Texans.
Yeah, same as us there.
Yeah.
Bengals at Ravens.
Bengals at Ravens. Bengals at Ravens. Ravens.
Next, Panthers at
I
the
think that'll be
Falcons.
close. That's tricky. Falcons have been crap, haven't they? Who is it between Falcons and who?
Panthers.
Panthers. Oh yeah. Yeah, put me down for Falcons.
Only Andy gives the Falcons a chance there. Next up, we have the Dolphins at the Niners.
Go Niners.
Thought you might pick that. Next, we've got the Colts at the Browns.
Browns.
Yeah,
The troublous Browns.
Everyone's gone Browns there. I'm surprised by that. Next up, Giants at Cowboys. Should I just write Cowboys down?
I'm going to go for the Giants.
He's been listening to this
I really
podcast.
hope the Giants do win, but nah. The other team.
Oh, I'm just writing Cowboys. I'm just writing Giants. My book is ruined.
Put me down for America's team.
Last three, Broncos at the Patriots.
Yeah. Is Cam Newton back, or do we not know?
No, he's still off.
Put me down for the Pats.
Right. For a little bit of suspense in your day, in your podcast listening, there's going to be a very small pause. Be right back. Through the magic of no editing, we are back. Go.
Seamless transition. That. Right, Matthew. 2 games left to pick. Your second to last game is Sunday Night Football. We have the Vikings going up against the Seattle Seahawks.
I'll go for the Dangerous Wilsons Seahawks, I think.
Yeah, it looks like everyone again this week wants to see Russ cook. So, and last but not least, if I say that, more than likely, at least one of these games will fucking get cancelled because of the bastard disease and fucking nonsense like that. We have the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost got that wrong. Fucking hell. Against the New Orleans Saints in the Superdome. Thoughts?
Saints.
Yeah, no surprises there. That's what everyone else has gone for. I must admit, when he started the game on Sunday and they were 14 in a bit of a 14.0, I thought, oh god, this is going to be a horrible season for Breeze, and he's just gonna flame out spectacularly badly. But credit where credit's due. He got himself back in the game. He threw some good. He was making some good connections with his guys, and they managed to get it back. So maybe the Saints are dead and buried. Maybe my pick was correct.
Got Thomas to come back as well, haven't they? So.
Yeah. Matthew, I understand you have some breaking news to dish on the podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's 49ers news actually. So you'll be aware a couple of weeks ago they picked up Mohamed Sanu. He's been cut. So The potential landing spots for him are either the Indianapolis Colts, the Las Vegas Raiders, or the Tennessee Titans.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. When he said it's Niners based news, and then he said Sanu, I was like, oh my god, is he going to go in as the new starting quarterback?
Well, that'd have been the best news, I think.
Yeah, I think old Nicky Boy's days are numbered, aren't they?
Yeah, they put Bradford in, didn't they? Towards the end.
Did he come into into the third quarter?
Yeah.
Not good.
He did all right. I think Jimmy's back.
Got back into it, so.
Yeah. The people's tight end, George Kittle, were on fire, wasn't he? Yeah.
The people's tight.
That hair, just so outrageous and long and luscious.
In other Niners news as well, that Ziggy
Stardust.
Ziggy Answer that they got to replace Nick Bosa is now got a major injury. So if it doesn't rain, it pours with injuries.
Yeah, certainly seems that way.
As I seem to be saying every season, we're seeing a injury-heavy season already. I mean, last season was one of the worst, and this seems to be following trend. I think everyone's feeling around the 2020. It's just, the absolute worst, and it seems to be following suit in the NFL. So picks are in.
Have you seen?
Go on.
Have you seen? Some players are tweeting about the New York pitch, saying it's caused a lot of injuries.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it might have been Raheem Mostert. Were going off on one about it, because I think they got a few injuries when they played the Giants.
And well, they played it back-to-back weeks, didn't they?
Yeah, and then when they played the Jets, not in the Niners, the Jets played the week before against somebody, and I don't know if it was the Bengals or somebody got a few injuries on that pitch as well.
Maybe. Not ideal.
Yeah, watch this space.
So, picks are in. Sounds like a lot of similarities, but the odd difference, which is either playing for points or pissing points up the wall. AOB, gentlemen. AOB.
Nothing from me. Nothing from me.
Matthew.
Nah. Can't think about. No.
I meant to double check whether you will return to the podcast before the end of the season. If so, we'll look forward to having you.
Yes, he should.
Please don't.
Yeah. Week 17.
Please don't say he's going to play me.
I think you'll have him week 17.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Because if he was on week 3,
yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
I thought you were getting me on this week to get some fantasy tips or something with me returning to the top of the league, but
scratch that.
No can do.
Scratch that. Week 17 is absolutely the second week of the playoffs, so you might have to play them all.
Fingers crossed. As I said last time you were on, there are certain teams that I do not relish playing. You are always one of them. In fact, both of you are teams I never want to go up against for a multitude of reasons. So yeah. Well, if there is no more to add to this, then it must be jam-packed full of NFL jam. And that brings us to the end. Matthew, thank you very much for taking the time to come and join me and the co-host on this fine evening. Mr. Williams, thank you for steering this ship through the murky waters that is the NFL.
You're very welcome, Andrew.
And we'll see how those picks pan out. Follow all three of us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook for what's no doubt going to be some 14-fold accumulators that are going to absolutely come in.
I was wondering about this because you, in your predictions, you got what did you get? 12 or 13?
12 out of 15 Andy got last week.
Yeah, but the way the accumulator goes is you have to get them all right.
Yeah, it also helps when you don't fuck it up after the first game and you picked the Broncos last week, but then obviously backed the Jets.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
interesting theory, Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah, I got bet blindness. I was like, oh, this sounds like a good bet. So there we go. Thank you, gentlemen, and until next time, good luck. Goodbye.
Good luck, guys.
So there we go. What do you think to that? Big thank you to Matthew for joining us yet again. It's always a huge help when guests can make the time to come on and give their impressions of the games and what they think is going to be going on in the coming weeks. YouTube watchers, if you could subscribe, it'll be a big help. It helps the channel and we would appreciate it. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com, check us out over there. Check for social media links and email links, and if you want to drop us a line, please do. So that's it for this one. Join us next time for more NFL football and hopefully more guests. Till then, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.